Hey everybody. So this morning I was talking with a searcher friend and we were discussing, the recent Q&A on mysterious writings about habits and inefficiencies. And this friend and I were discussing what we thought that meant. And the discussion kind of went about, each and every one of us kind of really only has so much time on this planet. We only have, so much time left, and we ought to be using that time efficiently. And of course, that discussion went further, and we really started discussing, inefficiencies in searchers, and how the difference between, people with multiple boots on the ground searches and those with who see themselves as armchair searchers who just want to, pinpoint exactly where Forrest Fenn's treasure is and then, go right straight to it. And it reminded me of a kind of a comparison I had done on Mysterious Writings over a year ago, where I had discussed, the differences between, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. And both of them are very famous inventors in their own mind. But each of them had different approaches to how they solved problems. Whereas Thomas Edison was kind of more of a step-by-step hands-on inventor, where he needed to constantly test out theories. And Nikola Tesla, in my research, was more of an inventor who could, in his mind, see the resolution to its fruition, or at least close to its fruition, and then prove that theory. So there was definitely a vast difference in how those two inventors came to their way. And that's kind of like how, boots on the ground searchers and those people who really consider themselves armchair searchers are. Whereas a boots on the ground searcher, kind of like Thomas Edison, really needs to get out there and constantly test their theories and either prove them right or wrong, and then come back and then reevaluate. And an armchair searcher is kind of more like that, that Nikola Tesla, where they really, can, in their mind's eye, can understand and interpret what the poem is telling them, and then hopefully go directly to that spot and recover Forrest Fenn's treasure. And while both of those methods or methodologies, could lead to finding the treasure, they're vastly different. And neither one of them, in my opinion, is wrong. But there certainly has been this, kind of a negative connotation towards those with multiple searches. And I tried hitting on that in this recent panel discussion with Illinois' Ghost, because Illinois' Ghost, we all know, has many searches. He's going on his 110th here, and I think that there's some people that look at that in kind of a negative light, like, oh well, Rick doesn't know what he's doing, or why is he wasting all this time, and he's just guessing, and all these other things. I don't necessarily agree with that. We all have our different ways, and we shouldn't talk negative about somebody because they have a different methodology than you. But I just don't understand why some people like to do that, or call them failed searches. Yeah, we all talk about and know about all the times that Thomas Edison failed, in his attempts to invent the incandescent light bulb. But what we really talk about more is the fact that he did invent. Yeah, we don't talk about all the failures. We really talk about the success. It's no different than Babe Ruth. We don't discuss how many times Babe Ruth struck out. All we really talk about is what a great, baseball legend he was and how many home runs he hit. So, it goes back to, inefficiencies. So who's really the inefficient searcher? Are any of us really inefficient searchers? Are we inefficient because we constantly go out and make searches and prove and test out theories? Or is a searcher more efficient, like Nikolai Tesla, one who can see, you know, the poem and understand where it's leading them to, and then go directly to that. But still, you got to get out there and put boots on the ground to solve it. Kind of like Forrest Fenn has said in his recent 6 Questions with Jenny, where he says, you know, rocking chair ideas can lead you to the first few clues, but a physical presence is still required, or something along that line. So, you know, still, it doesn't matter if you're a step-by-step, you know, boots on the ground searcher, kind of like myself, or IG, or Dow, or Cynthia, or the many that have multiple searches, or if you're kind of that Nikolai Tesla where you go out there. You know, there's different methodologies. But if someone like Thomas Edison had only tried, you know, his theory of inventing the incandescent light bulb once or twice a year, geez, how many years do you think it would have taken him to really invent the light bulb if he was only trying out? But that's not what he did. He constantly, you know, day after day was trying to prove that theory of the light bulb, and eventually, you know, it works. And I'm sure all of us are happy that we have light bulbs and a phonograph and moving pictures in our lives, and thanks to those inventors that did those things, and were avid in their attempts to do that. So I think that we ought to really be applauding, I think, those searchers that continually go out there and do that, and also applauding those that feel that they are like a Nikolai Tesla, where they can see, you know, the end of the search by just in their mind's eye figuring out where it is, and either one of those methodologies could lead to the treasure, and until it is found, you know, I just don't think that we should be putting any kind of negative connotations on anybody based on, you know, the number of searches or the lack of searchers that somebody does. And when it is found, I mean, are we really going to be talking about all the failed searches, or are we really going to be talking about that one successful search? And I think that's what we'll really be talking about is you know, that we actually did find it. And you know, and didn't Forrest say, you know, stop armchairing that thing to death and get out there in the trees where the box is. But before you do, look at the poem as if it were a map, because it is. And like any good map, it will tell you where to go if you follow its directions. And that's somewhat of a lead-in, a vertical promotion, if you want to call it, to my next video that I plan on doing. So again, you know, there's always different methodologies of how we're going to solve this thing. And whether you see yourself as a Thomas Edison like myself, who's got to constantly get out there and do a boots on the ground searches to test your theories out, and then come back and adjust, or you see yourself as more of a Nikolai Tesla who is going to see this thing from start to finish in their mind, and then go out there and recover it. It really doesn't matter. It only matters that one of us does solve this. So I think we ought to leave the negativity out of it, guys. And right? Well, that's all I got, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.